has become standard practice for me to feed the chickens in the morning. So I usually wake up, feed them a small portion, and then they're fed later so that they're full throughout the day. So we usually feed them with chicken mash, and then you mix it with any kitchen scraps that may be there. So carrot peels, tomato. They also love potato peels. If you boil them, they actually eat them. Even cabbage, any greens, chickens love them. So we usually do that. That's what I'm doing this morning. I'm also changing their water, and then they'll be good for the day. But the one thing I've noticed with this chicken is that they never get full. You can wake up in the middle of the night and you hear them pecking up at their food bowl. It's so peculiar to me. They never get full. Like if you keep adding food, they will just keep eating hadi the food is over, but they don't get full. So I'm just getting rid of these jackfruit peels. I don't know if you've tried this fruit before. I have tried it once before this, and that time was not particularly memorable to me because I can't tell you what it tasted like. But when we tasted it this time, it tastes like a pineapple, a banana, and a papaya had a baby. A very interesting flavor. The one we got wasn't ripe, so it wasn't very enjoyable. So we didn't like it, but the one that remained up to the next day ripened, and it was quite nice. So I just wanted to put this here to ask you whether you've had jackfruit before, because I don't think I've had a fruit that looks like that and tastes like that before. So as I mentioned, today is a planting day, and one of the only few seedlings that are ready are sukuma wiki seedlings. I'm not a particularly big fan of sukuma wiki, but the one thing I appreciate about them, and the one reason why we plant them, is that they're very hardy. Even when it gets really dry, they actually survive through the dry season. As you may know, where we live, it gets really dry because there's times when there's no water, and when it's not raining, coincidentally there's no water as well. So planting things that will survive through the dry season is how you get through the dry season. So sukuma wiki is one of those things. You're able to harvest it throughout the season, so that's why we are planting sukuma wiki. We have so many seedlings, so we went ahead and cleared out so much of that area so that we are able to plant at least a number of them. We weren't able to plant all of them, but we planted a considerable number of them for that day, and there's still more left over, so we'll look for more space to plant them. So I just realized that one of our strawberries has been attacked by aphids or something that's eating the leaves, and we went to these guys who sell the chemicals that you use to kill the aphids and pests in your plants, and she told us that actually we have the dawa, but she told us that you are not supposed to spray anything on flowers or plants when they're flowering or if they have fruit on them, because what will end up happening is that you will consume the chemical. So we opted to just leave it like that, and then when we harvest all the strawberries, we're going to spray the chemical on it. It's been raining quite a bit lately, and that is something I'm really happy about, because we rely heavily on the rain, and also it's really good not to have to water plants every day. That is the bane of my existence, watering plants. A lot of the seedlings I've planted are growing really slowly, to an extent that I am actually considering the fact that maybe the seeds that I planted were not viable. I am not too sure, but I am waiting. It's been 2 weeks and some of them haven't even germinated. I am very I'm really wondering what's happening. So I'm just waiting on the ones that are showing promise, which is very few, and then we're gonna replant the ones that have not germinated, because probably have planted them in the wrong place, I don't know, but we'll see. We finally finished building the vertical garden, and this was a proper labor of love. Proper labor, emphasis on the labor, because it was so much work. But I'm so glad we were able to fill up all the steps, because I didn't even think we'll get to the top part because we didn't have enough soil. But we ended up getting more soil. I didn't film because hiyo kazi ilikuwa mingi. So we filled up to the top, and then the gardening mixture, it remained, quite a bit of it remained, so I filled up the cement bags, and we're going to use them as planting bags, because the goal is to create more gardening space in this small garden that is filled with many rocks. The only thing we've planted in this vertical garden is spring onions and some tomato seedlings, because that's what we have for now. But once we get more, we are going to plant more. I also planted pineapple, which is one of my passion projects from last year. I make jam, and I make jam quite often with pineapple, so I have quite a number of pineapples every so often. So I decided to replant once I learned that you can replant the crown of pineapples. So that's what I usually do. Once I get a pineapple, I replant it. The ones that I've planted already don't seem like they're growing, but at the same time they don't seem like they're dead. They are green, so I know pineapples take a while to grow, so we're just crossing our fingers and hoping they're growing. Hopefully in the next 3 years we'll have many pineapples, homegrown pineapples. How cool would that be? I also harvested these jalapenos from my jalapeno plant. I have so many of them. I don't know why it's so productive. I'm not complaining, but it's really taken me by surprise. So I ended up making this chili, which I shared in the previous video. It's phenomenal. Like, I've been having it on everything, breakfast, lunch, supper, and it's so hot because I've put habanero in it, but it's so good. I can't stop eating it. Like, it's a problem. So if you're interested in making something homegrown, especially if you have your own chilies growing, you don't have to make it with jalapenos only. You're gonna enjoy this.